investment banking arms for financial advisory, capital mobilization, transaction structuring, port development, and SME financing. Seaport development and LNG to crown a development agenda, tapping into the natural endowment and resources of the state, will be defining for economic and social transformation and prosperity. Mining is another frontier opportunity that the bank has been steadily increasing in presence. We have an exceptional mining coverage business in place, one of the most effective in Nigeria. Actually, we are in DRC, and I know that my balance sheet in DRC to mining alone is about $500 billion. So, and that can be jointly developed for scalable projects to meet the myriad of structural challenges facing the global economy. First Bank has a physical infrastructure with 14 branches at it, forging partnerships, delivering value, and increasing growth and improvement across all metrics. Indeed, the stage is set for changing the narrative. And this summit is a perfect opportunity to discuss, propose, set up, and commence tangible execution of ideas. Today, we can achieve these goals and unlock the great potential that exists here, changing the narrative from frontier market to developed market. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the MD and CEO of First Bank Group, for that very warm address. Please let us give him another resounding round of applause for that. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, distinguished dignitaries here today. A future-forward economy is never accidental. It is intentionally through education, enterprise, creativity, innovation, and of course, access to opportunities, which is why all that has happened here today shows that Ondo State is more than ready to forge a pathway to prosperity. And of course, the conversation that we're about to have right now is very integral and geared towards designing that pathway deliberately and strategically. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Emanuela Daniel. I am a lawyer, and it gives me great pleasure and privilege to moderate this very crucial panel session. And of course, we have a formidable team of speakers who have come all the way from different parts to indulge in the discourse which we're going to have right now. Our panelists, of course, are powerhouses in their various sectors and their various industries, which cuts across education, entertainment, innovation, banking, and real estate. At this moment, I would now like to bring up on stage our amazing panelists. And of course, for our speakers, once you hear your name, I would like for you to kindly approach the stage and take your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a resounding round of applause, kindly join me as I welcome our first panelist for this panel session, Mr. John Todd. He is the Director of Education, Charterhouse, Lagos. Please, we can do better than that. Let us celebrate him as he makes his way to the stage. And of course, also joining us on this panel session, we have Dr. Kennedy Okonkwo. He is the founder and CEO of Netcomox Group. Let us celebrate him, please, as he comes on stage. And of course, the only woman amongst men, Dr. Omotola Jalade Ekende MFR. Please let us celebrate her. She is the founder of Red Hot Concept and a globally recognized creative industry leader. Thank you so much. Let us keep clapping till they make their way to their seats. Also joining our panelists is Mr. Jubril Arugundade, Nigeria's automotive industry expert and a strong advocate for industrial innovation. Let us celebrate him as he makes his way to the stage. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Ngozi Onyemuwa Anyogu. He is the Managing Director and CEO of AG Mortgage Bank, PLC. One more time, let's give a resounding round of applause for our amazing panelists here today. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, in the absence of Mr. Okay, he's making his way to the stage. All right. Wow, we have global icons currently on stage with me right now, and I feel absolutely privileged. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here today, of course, to engage in the conversations which we're about to have. So this panel discussion is going to be quite an interactive one. The goal is that all the audience here today is going to be able to gain a lot from all the conversations which we're going to have. So it's going to be a very, very interactive session. Of course, I'll tool the questions, and we'll try as much as possible to keep to the allotted time slot for this particular panel session. In no particular order, I'd like to start with the very distinguished Dr. Kennedy Okonkwo. I mean, being someone who has been in the real estate industry for years and decades, and achieving all you've been able to achieve so far, we would like to know how can smart housing be structured in Ondo State and as a strong economic driver that creates jobs and attracts serious investors? I'd just like to take that one more time. How can smart housing be structured in Ondo State as a strong economic driver that...
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Kennedy Okonkwo. I run the company, I founded a company called Netcom Oaks Group. We own the Victoria Crest brand of estates in Lagos. We own the Citadel Views Estate, Africa's first solar-powered estate. The beauty of real estate is that real estate is not just about housing. Real estate transcends to tourism, transcends to agriculture, transcends to industries, because the bedrock of everything, really, everything that I just mentioned now is land. And without land, we can't have agriculture, we can't have tourism, we can't have urbanization and everything that we have. Now, when it comes to housing, for you to be able to use smart housing to energize development, you need to build in such a way that it attracts all that is needed to make work-life balance possible. If you have an industrial, park, you don't just build an industrial park, but build the kind of housing institutions that can make live, work, play very easy and quite dynamic. When you build smart homes, you have internet access, you have uninterrupted power supply, you have portable drinking water, you have guaranteed security. So when you are developing satellite towns, you don't just develop them in isolation. You develop them in such a way that it is sensitive to the demography of those that would function within that confine. So you need to ensure that they have portable drinking water. You need to ensure that they have fiber-borne internet access. You need to ensure that they have uninterrupted power supply. But also, most importantly, each time we discuss land and housing, I would always want to say that the bedrock of building prosperous real estate is to make title documentation easy. What government needs to do is to make, policies and ensure that land information management system is deployed across the state. That is what, via GIS mapping. That is what differentiates bankable title and non-bankable title. Because all the corruption that people say exists in land transaction is only possible when states do not have proper land information management system. But the moment you have adequate land information management system, you are able to ensure that the land allocated for port infrastructure is strictly limited to port infrastructure. The land allocated for residential housing is used for residential housing. So it becomes easier. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kennedy, for that. Of course, we can all agree that the housing sector and the real estate sector is one of the most integral and important aspects of the conversations which are going to be held here today. So it does give me great pleasure that Dr. Kennedy is here to break it down for us, of course, in a way that can impact what we're doing here today. Thank you so much. We'll come back to you very, very shortly. But I'd like to go over to Mr. John Todd. Thank you. The question that I have for you is very, very simple. I'd like to know, or we would like to know, how can Ondo State position education, as a global leader in this sector, how can Ondo State position education as a real economic investment that directly drives jobs, innovation, and business growth? The mic is yours.
So, thank you. My name is John Todd. I am the Director of Education at Charterhouse Lagos. It's a $150 million project and the first British independent school in Nigeria. So, one thing we found last year in the first half of 2025 is that about $1.4 billion was sent out of Nigeria for education. And that's a massive amount of money. And it's also about the type of students that are leaving Nigeria. And I'm sure there'll be many people in this room who sat down and thought, I have no choice. The quality that I really want isn't here. And so you can look at education on lots of different levels. We have education at the most basic level, and we have elite education as well. And we've come in to fill a gap in elite education, because what we believe is that the young people of Nigeria need to be anchored in their own culture, away from some of the problematic moral values of Western society. My own children's school in London, I don't have a problem with that, but I know for Nigerians it is important. They have a grounding in their own culture, in strong moral values, but they're keen on at every level. So I think there's a number of things that Ondo State can do. The single most important thing is what happens in schools on a day-to-day basis. If you look at the single biggest factor to improve education, it's deceptively simple. It's teachers. The single biggest influence on a child's education is teachers. There's plenty of research out there that proves that is the case. So deceptively simple, okay, let's just improve teacher education. That would make a difference. The problem is so many teachers want to leave. I find it easy to recruit teachers because I pay more. That's a simple economy. We have teachers from Nigeria rushing to London. My advice, never go to London to teach. It's not a great place to teach. The kids are not that well behaved. So we need to look at that whole infrastructure around teacher education, around teacher remuneration. How can we improve the lot of our educators? Because very often, it goes back to something my father once said to me with a smile: those who can do, those who can't teach. And then I became a teacher. Very often our teachers are poorly educated. They simply do not have the skills to deliver a great education. And as a nation, you are trusting your future to people who are often poorly educated. Just look at the CVs I get every week, people who can't even spell properly, who can't write properly. So there's a whole piece there about our basic education, about universities. But if it's a one thing, improve teacher education, improve teacher training, and that will have a very direct impact on what happens in schools on a daily basis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Todd. And of course, what an eye-opening contribution regarding the teacher improvement. Of course, we're looking forward to the private and public partnerships which will be birthed from these conversations in order to be able to produce graduates who are not just graduates on certificates, but are also employable and of course